Hello. Welcome back. I would love for you to stay with me until the end of this piece, so we can exchange ideas afterwards. I'd like to start by reminding each of us that everything we consider good or bad, and even the names we use for consciousness, God, universe, supreme energy, etc., would likely be different if we had been born in a different era. This will become relevant soon. And there's nothing wrong with the names we use now. On the path of self-knowledge and awareness, we eventually come to understand, and then truly know, that there is no he, them, or bigot. Not even the self, separated from I. To the psychologists reading this, I'm not saying that Jung or Freud were wrong. In fact, I agree with the path they saw our consciousness taking. It is almost too hard to truly experience, more than just understand with the mind, that, in the truth of existence and creation, there is no outside and inside. However, and there's no problem in accessing it, all those names, from saints to entities, are expressions of consciousness. The hard part is to realize, it is not them and I, or the self and I. It is I am. To experience this is to see everything around you as an expression of what you need/want in the present moment. Let me clarify one or two things. First, this text is not about blaming the victim or saying they created their painful circumstances. But we do need to be careful. Sometimes, we fall into pits of suffering and, without realizing it, we like being there. We see this more clearly when we notice how drawn we are to pain in entertainment. Movies full of sorrow, violence, horror, tragic news stories, internet rabbit holes filled with hate. Second, of course, I'm not referring to people who need access to certain realities because they are actively working to change them. What I'm pointing out is that the moment we allow ourselves to be carried away by those realities is often similar to the unconscious way we allow ourselves to live through painful experiences. There are many people who, for instance, love the attention they get when they're unwell, but they're not aware of that in their waking consciousness, and they keep getting sick. So, if you live in a time where Jesus is the embodiment of salvation or pure wisdom, and you feel called to connect with that, then Jesus is the expression of consciousness you'll naturally connect with. But on a broader scale, don't see him as the one responsible for your happiness or sadness. It's not that God is working for you, for your benefit. It's you reconnecting with the expression you currently recognize as God. At one point in human history, this same God was seen as a rigid father in the sky, enforcing many rules. Today, many people recognize this presence more as love itself. A purer understanding of consciousness, which we can call here pure love, because it excludes nothing. You might think that love would exclude an earthquake or any kind of destruction, but in truth, it wouldn't, because love lives through it all. And just to be clear, I'm not here claiming to know all the answers. If you've read my posts before, I hope that's already evident. I'm simply acknowledging parts of the path that many people might be walking, and since you found this material online, maybe you're one of them. I realized not long ago how hard it can be to say, I am the one changing it. So, if I am attached to an outcome, I can think, how can I bring myself to a calmer state? And what expression can I connect with to support this work? Carl Jung gathered and described many of these common expressions of consciousness, the archetypes. So, for example, when I need to nurture my human self, this material expression of life, I might connect with a known expression of the Great Mother archetype, such as the Virgin Mary. How do I connect with her? In the way that resonates with me, maybe through prayer, maybe through a ritual like a mass or a moment of worship. What matters, at least for practical purposes, is not whether she historically existed, but that she exists now as this living face of I, consciousness, self, and I can connect with that in this moment. The hard part, especially if you're a dogmatic person, is understanding that both the existence and non-existence of the material world coexist. It is real, yes, but it is only an expression of consciousness, which is not it, they, he or she, but I. Not I, as in Ilya, but the I who is reading this post. Me, as Ilya, I am just an expression that you probably need right now, even if it's only to disagree. If I were to create an image to help you grasp this idea more deeply, imagine this. You are walking on an electric treadmill, surrounded by a magical green screen. In your hand, you hold a control. With it, you project your surroundings, what appears in front of you, beside you, behind you. This is your reality. You can interact with the green screen. But it's no ordinary flat screen. It's a 3D wall that responds to you. You live everything through it. However, this you is everything that exists. It is the all. It is even the treadmill, the screen, and the controller itself. Why? Well, this part, I can suppose, but I won't say I've learned it. Maybe it's simply so that the all can be all, so that we can be expressions, faces, fragments that expand and exist. That might be why so many teachers say, be present, be here, be now, be in silence, meditate, because it's in those moments that you access the all. You remember that you're holding the control in your hand, but it's enough just to be. You stop worrying about changing the screen. You simply enjoy it, while feeling I am. And if you don't like the treadmill metaphor, imagine instead that you are sitting in an invisible, deeply comfortable space. There are walls around you, walls you don't see, but you create the impression of motion and interaction. Even when you move, it's just the illusion the screen gives. But it's there because I am. How is the spiritual path for you? Can you feel yourself as one, connected with everything, acknowledging both reality and illusion, as contradictions that coexist? Let me know. Until next time.